work there. There we go. And that, how's that for an introduction? Sirski, you mother! I've been hearing that for the better part of, oh, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years, quite a while. And he has now left the country. So I got him to do the intro for today's episode. Flower market and a new cactus collection. Central Authority has the final say on reincarnation. New videos up on my language website if you want to have a look and have something to fall asleep to. I have this theory of the future of the mind. I don't know, just something I was thinking about today. Wednesday, October 5th, 2022. I'm Steven Sirski, folks. I hope you're doing well, and it is midweek already, and we're halfway through the, well, actually, this October 5th marks the end of the official holiday for the National Day break. Thursday, Friday, and then also Saturday, Sunday are sort of add-on days because Thursday, Friday is because October, they didn't work last weekend, and then next weekend is a holiday, or can be a holiday, which doesn't make sense at all because they just push the work to another weekend instead. They don't get the day off, and they don't get paid for it if they don't work, but they can work if they want, and they can still show up. It's a very confusing. I was actually wondering if and when China will ever sort of stop moving the weekend work around in an effort to sort of normalize, some of the holidays and stuff like that, and instead disperse the holidays throughout the year a little bit more, rather than just for the 7 days or the 10 days that they give in these chunks. So Spring Festival is one chunk, and National Day is the other chunk, and they like doing it this way. I'm not sure why, but that seems to be what the methodology here is in China. Anyway, so yes, today actually a longtime colleague is one of these people I thought was going to be a lifer, and excuse me, he's gone. Finally flew away. I actually didn't believe it when he told me a couple months ago he's gone. He applied for some visa, I guess, for his wife, and that basically made it more official than anything else. And then a couple months ago, he confirmed that the date was October 5th that he was flying out. So yeah, he's gone. I don't know if he has to fly through Hong Kong. I never did. Maybe I did ask him, but every time I've seen him for the last while, has usually involved a few pints or two. So on Sunday, we actually met up and we had a couple of pints. Jiapi. I learned a new word there. Draft. That's not Jiapi. Zhapi. So Jiapi is a word for draft. But so he's gone, and that is sort of surprising. Actually, he's probably one of the last ones of the ones that of the group that I'm surprised that are leaving, because he was here for like 19 years, 20 years or something like that. So it's kind of surprising whether or not there's going to be anybody else. I don't. I know there's a few more people leaving that have been here for 10 years or so in the next couple weeks. Then after that, I think it's kind of drying up. Like that's sort of hit the I don't know. Is there anybody left? There are people left. There are people still staying, and I've also seen some new faces around the compound. So it's something. People are coming back into the country as well. It's just a little bit more difficult to get over here. Not only that, I'm guessing that they're all vaccinated. So it's probably one of these things where if you're not vaccinated, good luck trying to get into the country. Well, I thought it was going to be a sort of a peaceful week of catching up on all my reading that I haven't been doing for this Delta course that I'm going through. And then the girlfriend shows up and says, we have plans. Like, what? What do you mean we have plans? So today we went to the flower market, and tomorrow we might go to Tiananmen Square, and there's a coffee shop somewhere in Saint Latour that It's sort of like a craft coffee shop. I'm not entirely sure. But today, this flower market, I was kind of hesitant about going. I did manage to get up and do my workout this morning, so I was happy with that. Pushed through pretty hard with that one. Did the skip and balls workout as is usual for Wednesdays, and I'm feeling a lot stronger today, especially with the whole just recovering from last week's illness and everything, or downtime, I should say. So today seemed to be right back on it. Getting cold outside though, not gonna lie. I was thinking about this. It's either I want a bike or rowing machine. I want something, either something indoors, or I'm going to get some warmer clothes from Decathlon. And I was thinking about buying something from, something more professional, if you will, Under Armour, more branded, more sponsored or whatever. Not sponsored, they're not sponsoring me at all. But go to Decathlon, get some warmer clothes. There's this other APP, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this, Wei-Pin. This is another Wei-Pin Hui. E-Pin Hui. What is it again? Wei-Pin Hui. E-Pin Hui. Anyway, you'll figure it out. It's Wei-Pin Hui. The second character is Pin. The third character is Hui. You guys can look up the rest. How's that? And it just deals in sort of branded clothes and stuff like that. A lot of branded names. It's actually not just clothes. It's a lot of different stuff. It's like Taobao, except apparently there's not as much scammy stuff on there. Not entirely sure, to tell you the truth. I was looking for I want cheap clothes, like literally no Gap, no USA written across the chest, no cute bunnies or anything like that. No, just want a plain couple of sweaters and stuff like that for the winter season. Same with like track pants and stuff like that. That's not the APP to use for it. That APP, you still got to go to Taobao for the plain stuff, the plain cheap stuff that's like shipped out bulk warehouse sort of thing. You can also go to, I know if you're in Beijing, there's a clearance outlet in the south of the city, and I've talked about this before, and I can't remember. It's Yao. Oh, I can't remember the name. But there is an outlet center outside of the Fourth Ring Road, and that has a lot of brand names that are on clearance. So it's like all the stuff, I guess, that they couldn't sell through the main outlets, and these are kind of pushing it through. It's a bit of a trek, and I don't know any subway station that's nearby. And most people, I mean, they go drive there instead. So it's a bit out of the way. Anyway, it's getting cold, and time to warm up. Either that or find something to do indoors rather than try to push through with running 4 miles a day outside throughout the winter. Because yeah, it does get cold. It does. And it saps your motivation to go. I understand. I get it. This afternoon, I didn't do the second 2 mile run, opting instead to do a bunch of stairs instead, because I was just like, I don't want to deal with the cold, to tell you the truth. But be that as may, be that as it may, got everything done. And so that was a large digression from the flower market. This flower market was actually kind of neat. Also way out there. It was about almost an hour away from my place. We did the first leg on bike. It's on the other end of the second one. The second closest is Futolu. Futolu is the street that it's on, and it's the next stop after that. Oh, excuse me. Let me see if I can find that pretty quickly. Where's the metro? We're going line 7 all the way down to, it's somewhere over there. Fato, sorry. Shuanghe Jian. So Shuanghe Station, that is still a 10-minute walk from the actual flower market. So you look for Fato or Shuanghe Station. From Shuanghe, it's a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute bike ride, and it's not bad actually. It's not. Again, I was sort of hesitant about going today, only because I was like, well, I really do need to get some of this delta reading and stuff like that. But as I've sort of learned, sometimes when there's these ideas pitched or given to you, sometimes it's best just to go along with them rather than trying to fight it, because if you try to fight it, sometimes you just sit there at home trying to figure out, well, how do I best utilize my energy, and you're distracted rather than experiencing something new. So go ahead, go to the flower market. Big, it's a wholesale market, so the prices were, I thought, a lot cheaper than what you could find. What I liked about it was that it was a flower market that you could walk in and you could see a lot. It's not like shopping on Taobao or in the supermarket here where they have lots of flowers. I actually substantially added to my cactus count today. I think I spent a couple hundred kwai on cactuses, and girlfriend's like, that's too much. It's really, really expensive. I'm like, they're tiny. Like, they're all like, you can fit four of them in your hand. So it's not such a bad thing. And we did find room for them all. A little bit surprised, but now I have like a little cactus collection on my windowsill, which is, I don't know. I wanted to find cactuses that were either looked unique, like art, and also plants that were unique to China. Like, I didn't want something I could find like anywhere around the world, sort of thing. So nothing too generic in that sense. And I think I did a pretty good job of picking out some of the neat ones out there. Pretty neat to have some of these. It's kind of neat. Cactuses don't require a lot of work. I mean, I almost killed the one that came with the apartment. It's still hanging on. It's got one little strand left that's still alive, so I'm going to try to doctor that one back to life. These other ones, we'll actually see which ones sort of survive, because they might not like my apartment. Like, it just might be a different, like an acclimatization issue as well. So I mean, they're all in their original pots, and they're not supposed to grow too big. I splurged on two of them that seem to be like growthlings, like they're little seedlings sort of thing. They've grown enough to stick out of the soil, but they are not big enough to be fully grown yet. They're supposed to actually grow a lot bigger. I don't know how long it's supposed to take, to tell you the truth, but they cost like 40 kwai. And so I bought two of them because I'm like, I'd like to see what these things do. I don't know. I've never seen a cactus grow that much before. Actually, sorry, that's not a cactus. Those were some other flower, but it will take a while to get to wherever it's got to go. And we'll see how it sort of works out. Oh boy. Here we go. All right. It still went. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I had to pause for a bit here, and I guess that picked up on the live feed instead, so you can watch that and have a good laugh. Well, I was holding back a sneeze there for a while, so I decided to deal with it. All right. So yeah, the flower market overall pretty good. Spent a bunch of money, and what else am I supposed to do? I mean, don't buy these things very often. And I did ask my girlfriend, I'm like, would you rather me spend this money on these flowers or on alcohol? And she's like, alcohol. Okay, that's not the answer you're supposed to give me. So I will fill in the answer for you and say I'd rather have these flowers than buy any more alcohol. But other than that, brought them back and was able to get the second workout in afterwards. A news headline across the Twitter today. This, I don't know if you guys follow this at all. This is aside from like my Ukrainian coverage over the last little while, but the central authority seems to have come out and said they have the final say on the Dalai Lama's reincarnation. And this article published in China Daily today is kind of confusing because it almost indicates that they are the determining factor of whether or not the person who selected, I'm not sure. It didn't sound like it was who was selected as the Dalai Lama. It's more like if the Dalai Lama can say there is something such as reincarnation. So it's almost a denial of what like basically the Dalai Lama does, like how he, the end of his life sort of thing, and how he views his afterlife, and that of however many Buddhists out there, right? Little odd to see an article like that. I'm not sure why they chose to release something like that at this time. Maybe it's because no one's really paying attention to what's going on in places like Tibet at this time, but and sort of the issues between China and India and the border dispute that's continuing. I mean, talk about Russia and Ukraine being a border dispute. Another one's going on for quite a while, which is one of the reasons why I wonder if India is still buying commodities from Russia, because I don't think they can afford to stop doing this. Like they can't. It's not like they have as easy access as China does to the Pacific and to the European markets, or I mean they do have easy access to the Middle East. That's very true. I mean they have lots of oil coming in there, but I'm guessing that the amount that they import from Russia can't be as easily replaced through the Middle East as they, so they have to keep on going with it, and it might have to do with something along the lines of they have to keep those borders sort of secured, because if they didn't, then there might be another border dispute that we all of a sudden hear about. New vids up on my language vlog. I don't know if you guys have been following this. Thanks for those who've taken the time to watch. These latest ones are actually very simple. They're just me doing some reading exercises, actually. So I pick out a simple English Wikipedia page and I just read through it. The idea being, because I was reading through these Delta materials that talks about how listening materials in the classroom are very pure, so they're not real. But it doesn't. I'm not sure. I may have missed it, but it doesn't clarify whether or not, like, a lot of these. You have the listening materials that are pure or clean in their presentation, and then you also have the teacher or the educator who is a little bit more street, in like not as clean and pure in his stops and starts and stuff like that. Recordings don't have all those you know what I mean, those fillers and stuff like that, whereas the teacher would have that. So it's sort of a I think it's one. I'm not sure if it talks about how those two are intergrained or intertwined. These listening materials that I'm creating at the moment are meant. There's actually two reasons I'm doing this. One, because I thought it'd be kind of neat to read up on some of the things that I haven't read up on before. I mean, I've done astronomy and philosophy lately, and they're only about 15 minutes, so it's not too long. And I read them in a decent pace, so it's targeted for the English language learner or the language learner who might be looking for something that isn't, PBS or NPR or anything else. I mean, or some who doesn't want to watch, graphics spinning around and instead wants the text available to them. So I sort of decided that this would be text. I guess, yeah, there is the text because people can have subtitles, obviously, but this one gives them the full text on the videos. The second thing was just to make sure that there is something of a little bit more interest and a little bit more timely, I guess, and spoken in a way that isn't so clean and pure as many recordings are out there, to give people a little bit more familiarity with street speaking as well, sort of how it can be a roughly recorded podcast, I guess, because even podcasts, a lot of them out there are very clean. They're edited, they're polished up and everything. So as much as they're real English or they're real language, at the same time, they're kind of missing a bit of it as well. So they're missing that sort of je ne sais quoi. It's all the stops and starts of how people actually speak, basically, right? And this one's completely unrehearsed. These readings are first read through, basically. So if I mess up something, you're going to hear it. All right, so you can have it look on that on my YouTube channel, of course. Steven's Language Vlog is the title of that YouTube channel. If you want to have something to fall asleep to, or think that you could do something better, I invite you to. The theory of the future of the mind. So this was something that actually was stemmed from the Delta readings, because they were talking about how the second language acquisition, how a second language learner acquires a language differently from a first language learner. So as a child, you learn it through lots of exposure and constant, like a barrage of information on how to do everything. But at the same time, as a first language learner, you're not aware of like life or how language works or how people work or concepts and stuff like that. So you're learning a lot of that at the same time. Whereas a second language learner typically already knows all that stuff, so they can use that information and apply it to their the acquisition of a second language. So this got me thinking, future, when we don't have to learn languages anymore, and we have this little device that's stuck to our temple with an earpiece and the 3D hologram display piece in front of us that no one else can see, and we're connected to some sort of neural network or whatever, and all of a sudden, just like these days, where you have to watch what you publish online, or say in a podcast for that matter, because people will come back and they'll troll you, they'll report you, they'll splice it up and misrepresent what you're saying, or same with, you got to watch what you type into Google or whatever search engine, because taken out of context, or people will figure out what you're doing, it'll give you away, something like that. Imagine if that was all in your thoughts. Like if you had to constantly be vigilant of what you were thinking, you will get things done faster than ever before. Like you might have a thought about what to eat, you'd think it, it'd be done, charged to your credit account, and then delivered like quick sort of thing. But on the downside of it, it means you're always connected to this thing, just like we are always connected right now, but we can choose to access it. How, going forward, if we have this sort of implant, not implant, into our mind or whatever it is, can we actually prevent ourselves from being hacked or exposed in our so-called true thoughts? Because, let's face it, you have a lot of thoughts. A lot of them are just that, fleeting moments and stuff like that. Nowadays, if you look up how did they do the horror movie, like how did Rob Zombie do his horror movies or whatever, or how did Hitchcock do his horror movies, like if you don't specify that it's Alfred Hitchcock, how to create a horror movie, how to create a real life horror movie, like these things can be taken out of control. Are they going to be reading these thoughts? Like, is this going to be, wasn't this the movie Minority Report? It might have been. Well, I've never seen it, so maybe that's why I'm thinking up this idea and going, wow, that is pretty crazy. What is going to happen? Anyway, we can control what we post online. We can even control our access to the internet. But in the future, what if we are always connected and always online? Like literally online. How will we be able to do it? Will we, and most specifically, us, us 30s, 40s, maybe the 50-year-olds won't even care at this point. But the 20-year-olds might be a little bit more savvy in it. But the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, how are they going to control? How are they going to learn to recontrol their thoughts so that they're not accidentally leaking their true feelings and their true thoughts to the world for other people to troll? Basically, that's it. All right, folks, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening. I didn't get onto Inktober or NaNoWriMo. I will talk about those a little bit later on, as it's part of the big creative process that sort of happens through the next 6 months. So I want to make sure I give it a good talking about as well. All right, show notes, tracks, and vids up on my website, stevensirski.com. And please don't forget to take a look at Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. You can find my bigcast over there as well. I just published episode 33 with David Harrison Horton, and episode number 34 is in the works at the moment. Although, given the fact that I'm doing some traveling around the city tomorrow, we'll see if it gets published. But should be very soon. All right, folks, thanks again for listening. And remember, hug a foreigner. You might not see them for a while. With that, folks, we'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again. Bye-bye.